know that feeling you get when you see your entire financial life neatly organized in YNAB and you feel totally in control of your money? Have you ever tried to replicate that in other areas of your life? Maybe you're using a meal planning app, or you're like Ben B and some other YNAB team members who swear by Todoist to manage their personal to-dos. For me, I wanted that same sense of control over my time. My goals: feel energized instead of drained, accomplish work I'm proud of, and then have the time to focus on things that are important to me: relationships, relaxing, hobbies. First, I tried an exercise. For 1 week, I kept meticulous track of my time in a spreadsheet. Similar to when I started budgeting, it was an eye-opening experience, but instead of, wow, that's how much I spend at Chipotle, it was, wow, before my day really even gets started, I've already spent 45 minutes scrolling. It reminds me of this quote from James Clear: when you lose track of time, you are either living your best life or wasting it. I want more of the living my best life. And just like YNAB would never tell you how to spend your money, there's no right way to spend your time. You have your priorities, I have mine. So whether you want to write a book, spend more time with your family, have time in the evening to relax and play video games, here are 3 of my time-saving routines. Routine number 1, set myself up for success the night before. The first thing I do is keep my phone out of reach. Such a small change, but it makes a huge difference. Simply by charging my phone in the bathroom instead of on my nightstand, a few things happen. In the evening, I'm more likely to grab a book and read it instead of scroll through Reddit. And then in the morning when my alarm goes off, I can't reach over and hit snooze. I have to get up, walk across the room to turn it off. And since I'm already up, I'm not as tempted to scroll through emails and tweets from the comfort of my own bed, so I'm more likely to get up and get moving. The second thing I do is lay out my workout clothes. Remember back in January, I had grand plans of going to Orange Theory multiple times a week. 2020 had a different idea, but I still need to get out of the house, so I've been enjoying morning walks. And if I lay out my clothes, they're easy to find and I can get out the door. Third, I give myself a bedtime. Getting to sleep quickly and having a restful night's sleep can have such a huge impact on our energy levels the next day. If you need any tips, our writer Rachel, before she worked at YNAB, was an actual sleep therapist. Didn't even know that was a thing, but that's so cool. And she has an incredible blog post with all of her recommendations that include setting a bedtime alarm, the importance of sound machines, a sleep podcast that she loves, and the wish farm worthy bed she has. Routine number 2, start the day off right. First, I'll set a daily highlight. This name and idea comes from a book I'm currently reading called Make Time: How to Focus on What Matters Every Day. The book asks you to begin each day by thinking about what you hope will be the bright spot. What activity, accomplishment, moment do you want to savor? That is your highlight. I've kind of been doing this. The journal that I use has a spot for your number 1 project each day, but I like the idea of reframing it as a highlight, because some days a work project is not the bright spot. Maybe it's a FaceTime call with Jeremy or enjoying a long Sunday walk with my mom in summer. But the habit of pulling out my journal each morning and focusing on the highlight helps me. It helps me to focus because I can be easily distracted. And I'm excited because the next part of this book is all about lasering in with different tactics so you can make sure you accomplish your highlight. Next, I'll update my budget. My easy morning budget routine doesn't take a lot of time, but it brings a lot of peace. And I start by making sure that all my accounts are up to date. I've gotten into the habit of entering transactions as I go because I always want to be able to trust the budget. So when those transactions clear my bank, I import them in, YNAB matches them automatically, and all I have to do is approve, which is awesome. So I'm basically getting the best of both worlds. I get the awareness that comes from entering transactions on the go, and then importing makes sure I don't miss anything. After that, I reconcile. I feel like I reconcile a lot. I don't know how often you do it, but it makes me feel so good, and it makes everything look very neat. And if there's an issue, it's easier to find because, like Erin says, reconciling is like laundry. If you let it go for too long, it piles up and it makes it a lot harder to find that missing sock. Once that is done, I'll take a look at my budget and fix any overspending. Because this is all a daily routine for me, it takes no time at all compared to letting it build up if I were only looking at my budget on paydays or once a month. I might do an entire video on building a budgeting habit. It's been on my mind a lot lately because of Jesse's Atomic Habit podcast series and my little sister, who started YNABing at the beginning of the summer. I'd love for her to want to look at her budget more often, but I try to, especially around new people, try not to be too much of an intense YNAB enthusiast. So I'm gonna play it cool, but maybe she'll watch this video. Routine number 3, manage my to-do list. I will forever be grateful that I was introduced to David Allen in my first 9-to-5 job. I think to myself easily once a day, your brain is for having ideas, not holding them. I have learned not to trust myself to remember anything. I write everything down, and if I'm ever feeling overwhelmed, this is my go-to move. I sit down, pull out a piece of paper, and do a brain dump. I get everything out of my head. The next step in this routine is something else I learned from getting things done, the 2-minute rule. If any task on that list takes 2 minutes or less, I just do it. That is easier said than done sometimes, but I have the tendency to let things build up, so this 2-minute rule is a huge help. Tasks longer than 2 minutes are a little bit harder. I've mentioned I'm distractible. I love the ping of a Slack message, and Gmail is always calling my name, so I have found that timers are my best friend. I pick one task to focus on, and I turn off notifications and work on that one task until the timer goes off. I've used apps like Forest, which is really fun, the timer on my phone, and physical sand timers. Sometimes a task is a work thing, sometimes it's folding laundry, but timers always seem to help. I think it's that self-imposed deadline. If I didn't have it, the work would expand and I'd be finishing up a video script right until it was due, or I spent so long folding the laundry, it was easy to pile it in that one chair in the corner of the room and deal with it later. These are my simple routines, nothing groundbreaking, but they work for me. I'd love to know if you've tried something similar, found methods or apps that have helped you gain control in other areas of your life. And if you haven't tried YNAB yet and you want less money stress, we have an entire free course that you can take right here on YouTube, and I'll have that linked down below.